Alright, let's go ahead and look at an alternate method of how to find the slope of a line. If you remember, we had talked about this example earlier, x plus 2y equals 4, and in that example we had found the x and y intercepts and then used the slope formula to help us find the slope of this line. The alternate method is where you can solve this equation for y. Now when you solve the equation for y, you basically want to take everything else over to the other side and get y by itself. So let's go ahead and do that. We start by moving our x over. And then to get y by itself, we want to get rid of that 2, so we divide both sides by 2. And that gives you y equals negative 1/2 x plus 2. Now if you look at the coefficient on x, the coefficient on x is negative 1/2, and that represents the slope of this given line. That will be your slope for the line x plus 2y equals 4. Now if you go back and look over that example that we did, you can see what slope we came up with on that when we calculated it using the x and y intercepts. If you will go ahead and look at, this was the example that we did. Right, there you go, x plus 2y equals 4, and you can see we found the x and the y intercept. And then after that, we use the 2 points and plug that into our slope formula, as you can see right here. And there you go, your slope was m equals negative 1/2. And here in this alternate method, when we used the equation and solved it for y, you can again see the coefficient on x was the same thing as your slope of negative 1/2. So that's another method that you can use when they give you the equation and not just 2 points on the line. Let's go ahead and look at just one more example to find the slope of a line using the equation. And we are looking at 5x minus 2y equals 10. Again, you don't want to find the intercepts, you just want to solve this equation for y. We start by moving our 5x over to the other side, and this gives you negative 2y equals negative 5x plus 10. Now we want to isolate our y, so we divide both sides by negative 2. And again, we don't want the negative sign to stay back with the y. We want y just by itself. So when I divide by 2, I take the negative sign with it, and that gives you y equals 5/2 x minus 5. Now again, remember, you have 2 negative signs here on your negative 5 and negative 2. The 2 negatives become a positive, and you end up with a positive 5/2 as your coefficient on x. And again, that will be the slope of this line right here. If you would like, you can confirm your answers by finding 2 points on the line and using the slope formula to come up with the slope, and you should see the exact same answer.